You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Prasky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Here it accounted for.
Sawiti Cup.
Hello.
That's hello in Thai. I'm learning a little bit.
Yeah, see? What was it all?
Sawiti Cup. Sawiti Cup.
That's hello.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, Sawiti Cup to you, too. So, all right. We got, we're live from Minnesota. And you're live from?
Thailand. I actually found some interesting information out the last couple of days. We went to a little village 3 hours away from Chiang Mai, and really neat village area and surrounded by mountains. But I was with two other people I met at my hotel, and then a local, and she's been living in Chiang Mai for 10 years. Guess how much she pays for rent for a 2-bedroom home, full kitchen, bathroom, parking. That's 15 minutes by moped to the city center of Chiang Mai, the second biggest city in Thailand.
Boy, of course, it's a trick question. So, $400 a month.
$150 a month.
$150 a month. Jeez.
Yeah.
What can Americans go there to retire or not?
Yeah, you can get a retirement visa or I don't know, some sort of special visa, then stay here for till you die. A lot of like British people do it. Australians. There's some visa.
What would we be missing
from USA?
Yeah, what would we be missing out on if I said, Andy said, hey, I'm going to retire and I'm going to go live in Thailand and pay $150 a month for rent. What else would I be missing out on if I didn't live in America?
Wine is a little more expensive than European standards because they're import taxed, but Buffalo Wild Wings maybe not as good. Other than that, I think you're doing pretty fine over here. Really? I mean, it's just your people back home.
Yeah. What is Andy playing Batman or something over there?
Yeah.
I mean, look at him. Hey, this is there we go.
What's up?
The AP is back.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We actually have some sun out today.
I see that.
And where's that sun coming from in your direction, Andy? Is it right from that way?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking.
Usually
for
in the mornings it comes out of the east normally, but you never know.
I didn't know which way it was east in your house. Is what I'm saying. I'm trying to coordinate with you. So Yeah. So okay.
I've got a skylight above my head I have to keep closed, and
I'm trying to face
the
you
morning
right
is
now.
actually, the probably the sunniest time of the day in my office. And then at the very end of the day, I have just the sun blast right through these blinds straight at us.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're just talking about a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, nice kitchen, 15 minutes from the city center for $150 a month. And I was trying to figure out how we could go retire there. Just imagine, I mean, how much money would you need? I mean, do you even need $10,000 a year, Nick, to live good there?
I mean, well, the locals do it underneath that, but I know that I met some old British dude that was retiring, and he got a pension of $1,100. And he would spend $900 a month.
$900 a month. So, yeah, 11 grand a year.
And that's not local. That's like a Westerner. So they obviously have a better way of life than the normal local. But I think a lot of them get by off like $300 a month.
What about like health insurance and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, they have socialized stuff, and their private stuff is like, I think, the 6th rated best in the world. It's actually really good, Thai healthcare. But again, like the socialized medicine, it's not, I don't think it's like you go in today and you get an appointment. You have to wait a little bit. But for the most part, that's one of the best things they say about Thailand is their healthcare.
Andy, the market is rolling.
Yes, sir.
It's rolling again. I knew it was rolling when I watched a little video the other day. There's an Andy Prasky guy on there and a couple other people talking about inspections, and I watched the whole thing, and then I was going to comment on it, but I didn't.
I saw we had one view, so that must have been you.
It was me.
Okay.
But I refrained from. Does the comments go just directly to you? They don't go to like post anywhere, do they? It says to reply to Andy.
A lot of times they do. There's multiple people that see that, and they have their eyeballs on that. I apologize. I have not probably read your post yet.
No, I didn't post it because I was afraid it was going to other people. Because you were talking about that you had no ego, and it was like, I'm like, what? No ego? Are you kidding me?
Who said I have no ego?
You did. You said about your team and that, hey, there's no ego. I don't have an ego. It goes to each other. And I'm like,
yeah, you have to fake that at times. Yeah, you have to. You basically have to. With any kind of a team, with the different personality types, the old being the dominant bear doesn't work anymore. Coming in there and roar. So it's like I've literally checked that. Yeah, you're gonna make phone calls and text today and sell stuff. We don't do that anymore. So what I do is a lot of times my old grandma years ago, she looked at me and she says, "You talk too much." And I said, "Oh yeah?" I said, "Oh yeah, Grandma." And I was ready to say something smart, like I got it from you. She goes, "God gave you the right equipment to use in proportion." And I said, "Oh yeah?" She goes, "You have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should use them proportionately."
Wow.
I said, Wow. I have to use 4 ears when I do my team stuff.
Wow. I think you have to get an ego to kind of exceed in this business though too, in a way.
Yeah, I think so. And then, the other side of it is, maybe what I should watch the video. Maybe what I was referencing was when it comes to interacting with each other, like being egoless, like being there as a resource, not as a personality, maybe. I guess I'll have to watch it again. Because I tell you, when you're out in the field talking to customers, they want you to have an ego. They want you to have that confidence in that, because that's what we get paid to do, right?
You were talking about having the ego of like a team, and that you're the team leader of Andy Prasky, a preferred home team, and like you didn't have an ego over the other agents that work with you.
Right.
That's what you were talking about. So
you and I are similar that
way.
I
was just going to say, what happened? But I've been on the radio with them for 11 freaking years. I mean,
well, I kind of learned that from you. I mean, the old, I'd rather have somebody else, take a lead, and I'd rather celebrate their success than to be like I did better than you this month. And I've always kind of been that way. And I probably learned that from Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Mortgage demand jumps nearly 28% in 1 week as interest rates drop to the lowest point in months. Walla Walla, that did happen, and people did get excited. I think that rhymes with the start of the year. Starts a new year, New Year's resolutions. Let's do it. Get over hey, the rates are what the rates are. I mean, how many times have we heard, you don't marry a rate, you date it. You marry a house, and I think people are starting to kind of get into that. We're starting to see that in houses. We're seeing multiple offers. I mean, it's all about inventory, people. I've been saying it forever. Because we don't have inventory. We just don't have it.
Yeah.
So, and we need it, especially in the upper bracket. It's crazy.
It's kind of funny is like a lot of times I'll do, the last couple of weeks here, I've been doing quite a few markets, getting people ready for spring selling season. And it's not uncommon at all to have where either there's like within a half mile of that house, no other houses for sale, or maybe one coming. If you go out a mile, usually I can find 1 to 2, but like back in 2005, I'd find 40.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So there was a lot of there's not competition right now. So,
the other thing that's happening, I think when you're listing a home and trying to list it, you're looking at, gosh, there's just nothing available, but you're also taking into account that, boy, if we push it too much, people are just going to wait on it. And then if we price it too low, we might not create multiple offers because there's not enough people, and we'll sell it for too less. And so where do you end up pricing that house? And I think that's kind of a dilemma that's happening right now. And you see with people with how they're pricing, how they've come up with that. And some are saying, well, geez, there's nothing on. I'm just going to push this price a little. And then it's just like, I don't know. It's not quite there yet. And maybe that house still sells, but it might not be for about 3 weeks until they can kind of, well, there's nothing really else coming out. Let's go grab that one.
Yeah, you're right. And I kind of compare this to like it seems like everybody's talking about eggs right now with the $4.99 a dozen or whatever. And you look at that and you say, hey, I remember when they were, $1.39 a dozen. Now they're $4.99. What happens is, let's say that the market is at $4.99 for a dozen eggs, and you list yours at $4.50. People, I think in today's market, are saying, see, it's starting to head back to $1.39. And it almost puts them in a paralysis position of, I don't know if I want to make my move yet, because they might drop down under $4. In the meantime, 3 other people scoop it up. But there's a psychology that we're starting to flip back to what they call a buyer's market. And I'm telling you guys, and I know you know this, Chris, but we're not even close. I mean, it's. I don't think you're seeing multiple offers because there's a lack of consumer confidence. But with the lack of inventory, people basically sit back if they price it fair. And they say, I'll wait. I'm okay. I'll wait for my buyer.
Yeah. It's fun though. This is kind of the stuff that kind of gets me going, is that you have to react and adapt to different markets. Yeah. And been doing it my whole life and whole career. And, you have to jump in and how quick you can do it. It's like when the short sale market happened, sometimes you waited too long and you got in at the end, the foreclosure market, you got into that. I never got into that. It was kind of like, oh, that's not going to happen. It's not going to last too long. Well, all of a sudden you got a pipeline for 5 years of properties that I wasn't able to go get. So it's interesting in how you adapt and, and help your clients out the best you can.
Yep.
So, yeah, and it was a little dip. It wasn't a huge dip, but it was a little dip. I do a lot of, which is, I always kind of put people to the lenders and let them deal with it, because everyone says, hey, here's what the interest rates are. And I'm telling you, different lenders have different rates, have different programs, have different locks, have different credit scores, have different, how you look as a buyer. And that makes a big difference. I'm dealing with a commercial property, and I'm trying to get the financing set ahead of time based on how the numbers are on this property. And it was really interesting listening to these banks stating that, obviously it depends on what kind of, a big thing depends on the relationship they can get with that person. So if they have a relationship with the bank, all up putting some money into that bank, a certain amount, and how established their company is, gets them a lot lower rate. I mean, significantly lower. It was like a percent difference. So,
yeah, it very true.
Yeah, Yeah. So on the rates and stuff like that, you got to kind of talk to people who know what the heck they're talking about, because there's a lot of little games you can play with those. And for your situation, your situation, everyone's situation isn't the same. My wife, she would be the best person in the world to have a 30-year mortgage, because she'll just stay in that same house forever. Myself, well, I'll move anytime. Everything's for sale. I don't need a 30-year mortgage. I probably need a 3-month mortgage, and then just kind of keep flipping them. So
beautiful. Hey, I got some interesting Minnesota news. A nice property/business for sale. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. It's going to be brought to you by Chris Rooney, Home Experts.
I was just 1 year old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Ashery Lane Farm. I see this thing. Look at that.
Wow.
Come on.
Super cool.
That is the super coolest area in there. Just imagine the cost, Andy, and because Andy's into this, that landscaping alone.
Oh yeah.
But what a picture taking bonanza there too for those people.
Totally. I think that's the big thing now is having an event center, having the photo opportunity center, having the reason to go out there because it's seasonally now. It's the apple season, or it's the grape stomping season, or it's all of a sudden you create your own little Walt Disney World in the middle of nowhere because you have, the things people are looking for. Yeah. And,
Andy,
it's pretty cool.
Do you know that place? Because that's up by you, isn't it?
I didn't read, honestly.
Where is it, Nick? Mayor.
That's out west.
Yeah, out west. It's more out west.
Yeah, I have not had the opportunity, but it sure looks nice.
Yeah, Nick, go back to the picture. I think this is one of those elevators. Now, see that, like on the side of the silo? I think that's one of those elevators that they're doing where they attach it to the outside of the house. Is that what it is?
I would bet it is.
I think it is.
Bring up food up to the upper level.
Oh no! Oh no! Maybe it's ductwork. You can see all that. That might be a duct.
Well, that would show. That looks like kitchen venting equipment and stuff there.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't disagree because you can kind of either see the window through there. But anyway, regardless, if it is an elevator dumbwaiter, that's nice because then the staff doesn't have to trip going upstairs. They can bring up a tray at a time and they can run it and serve it. It's probably faster for serving because that means they're probably having events, weddings, sure, whatever out there.
Yeah. So as far as trying to figure out pricing on something like that, that's very hard in which to do because I think there's a multiple different things. I think it said it was on 64 acres, and there's obviously a business there. It looks like a home as well. I had one listed, about 5-6 years ago. Super cool guy, great guy, and it was a event center, and they had a house. And they didn't, when I was going in to be able to list it never sold. They ended up selling off some of the land. It was on 80 acres. But I had to look at it okay, what's the potential here? How could we add on to here? Could we make the house kind of more of a bread and breakfast type thing? They would rent the house out sometimes for the wedding parties. But you're trying to figure out all these different ways to be able to get this price higher. What's it cost to duplicate that thing? Is there any developable land in that area as well to try to come up with a price? Because I think this one is $5.5 million. That almost becomes, I don't think that's a business that's, this is what we're gonna live on and we're gonna make it. I think that's a place where it's something that someone with a lot of money loves and that they have it and they can have their maybe they can have their work parties there, and then the other times, lease it out to different people and or offer it to their different clients and stuff. Because
well, and if you break it down, I mean, what is 65 acres worth out there? 1.3 million. I mean, that's 23,000 an acre for farmland.
That's a lot.
Because who knows if the whack and sack, water sewer is on its way or close. Number one. Number two, you look at the farm in the sense of planting all the apple trees, planting all the vineyards. I'm sure they put $1 million, $1.5 million into that.
Yeah.
So now you're at 2.5, and then you have the other buildings, facilities. Let's say another $1 million on top of that. So now you're at 3.5. So the other $1.5 million is just for their sweat profit potential
income.
So maybe they're selling that property based on a P&L profit and loss statement, saying, hey, we make $1.5 million a year times 5 is this many dollars, and that's what our business is worth.
It's interesting.
You were thinking it was kind of overpriced, and I think it's kind of right there.
Yeah. I don't know until I'd actually see the numbers that surround it. But what happens with these types of property? I don't know if I've talked about that one Colorado property that it's its own town on 360 acres that I want to buy. Yeah. And that's $4.5 million. Well, the guy that did it had about 14 million into it, ended up selling it for 10 million. Now they're selling it for $4.5 million because it's just who's going to buy it? The value is probably there, but who's going to buy it? Now you're getting to a price point that it's like, boy, what about the maintenance of this place? What if I have to redo everything? I mean, now instead of 4.5, it's probably going to go to 3 million. That thing's still on the market, Andy. I'm still going to buy that thing.
I'm surprised some egotistical celebrity didn't go in there and name it Rooneyville or something.
But it might not be nice enough for them. You know what I mean? They could go buy a house on a ski hill for 15 million instead, and they're in and out, and I don't know. It's a very and this place is kind of way out there. So you almost have to have your own helicopter or something. I mean, of course.
Well, I think it kind of just, if you listen to what you just said, I mean, it probably is the way everybody will feel. So the business opportunity might be limited. You're going to get the drive-through traffic, the people commuting saying, hey, let's go through that town in the middle of nowhere on our way to wherever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you'll be a destination. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to create that. That's what I think would be fun. But
we got to start
landscaping,
cool.
Chris. What?
We got to get out there and start landscaping.
Oh, there we go. We need landscape. It's in a freaking desert. That's where Nick went to college, kind of in that same area.
Ever.
Yeah.
Hey, another Minnesota news. This is going to the Supreme Court. It's about home equity theft. I don't know if you guys have heard about this case yet, but I'm going to share it here. And I want to hear your thoughts.
Guaranteed cash offers?
No, I think it's the one I think that went to the Supreme Court. I think it's the one about property taxes. Yep. Yeah, it was the property taxes. They're basically this lady who owed nothing on her house, didn't pay her taxes. She had all these penalties against it. They ended up foreclosing on her, if I recall right. They foreclosed on her, and then she got the city kept all the money. And so they basically said, well, geez, you foreclosed on her for those taxes, and we got this much money, and you only sold it for this, but you didn't give her any of the money. I think that's what this one's talking about. But when Nick was talking about it, I was like, oh boy, Andy's going to go. Here we go. There's another way. I mean, equity scamming is a thing
you remember
talk about a lot.
Equity stripping was like a big 6 o'clock news event for years, where people would buy the house, we'll pay cash in any condition, and it was now it's like a business practice that's totally accepted. We're going to screw you to your face, take all your equity to make it easy for you. Well, they were doing the same thing 20 years ago. Just they called it equity stripping, and you're on the news with handcuffs.
It's all about disclosure. You got to disclose. And I mean, that's with us, with agents. I mean, we're at a disadvantage from an agency standpoint because we have to tell people, hey, we're going to get this for a real good price, and you should definitely sell it, and you'll make more money, and all of that kind of stuff, and say it and re-say it and say it again. So,
yeah, as a real estate agent, it's hard to flip houses, unless it's business to business, because it is our job to say, okay, like in that situation, the little old man or whatever is selling their property, and you need to say, hey, your house is worth $300,000 on the street value. I'm improving it, $70,000 to get it to here. I'm basically going to try to make this kind of profit on it. Are you okay with selling it to me at this price?
Yep.
And so they understand everything. If they understand everything and they're competent, I have no problem with it because you're an adult and you made good or bad decisions your whole life. But if you're not aware of what really is going on, it's kind of like, a doctor having the ability to go in there and say, you need a procedure, but they're lying to you to get the procedure done because they want the money, and nobody can guide that person because you trust that professional.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunately, the same thing. So you got to be, I don't know, I take the fiduciary responsibilities. I know you do, Chris, too, very seriously. And it's almost our job to protect people as much as it is trying to get them convinced to do business with us, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Andy, it's social media reacts time. But first, it's brought by Andy Prasky, Preferred Home Team. No ego. Here he goes.
Oh, you want me to do it?
I guess. Let's do it.
What is my commercial? Give me three topics.
This is what you're the best at. You're best.
Give me three topics.
You're best on your feet, baby. Get her done.
You have three topics for me to hit?
I want you to talk about why right now is the best time to get your house on the market.
Boy, what a great topic, Chris. And I'd like to tell you more about this wonderful, wonderful time of the year to sell. So here's the thing, guys. If you think you've missed your opportunity to sell your house, you haven't. The equities are still there. The buyers are still there. There are fewer houses for sale than there are buyers, which is putting pressure on the pricing. As rates went up, it scared everybody, and we took a little bit of our spending power away. But there's still people in every price point looking for houses. There's less of them per se, but they're still there. So it's a great time to sell. More importantly, let's get together, have a consultation on your house. Let's give you some ideas as to things you could do if you want to improve the value of the house or make it sell faster. And then let's talk about, hey, if you want an offer, let's talk about, maybe you don't want to fix it up. Maybe there are some alternatives we can bring you that will bring you a nice offer that still gives you your equity and makes a fair deal for everybody involved. And we get you moved to the next place. Is that 30 seconds?
Andy, are you guys willing to be able to purchase properties from people?
Yeah.
Yep. So
we are. It's what's funny is that I got it all lined up where I'm ready to go. I can purchase properties. I'm got all the lines of credit, all the other stuff we need. And then every time I sit down with people, I obviously convince them that, you know what, why don't we just give me 30 days to get this thing sold for you, put another 40 grand in your pocket. And, but
yeah,
I'd love to have a couple flips going right now. I just haven't had the opportunities appear.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. Fantastic. But there's options. You got to have options. If you give people options, at least then they can decide. Give them the information to make a decision.
Right on.
So, all right. People will pass on a house worth $500,000 just because they don't like the $150 light fixture and the half bath downstairs, and the matching quilt on the bed that matches the shades and the window treatments. And it's the craziest thing. People do get it's the little things. That's what we were just talking about, personal property the other day. And you know what? We're selling houses. We're not selling personal property, but personal property can become just freaking detriment to a sale.
Hey, Chris, it's like a nice tank top, right? And so you might be able to go to Applebee's with a tank top on, and you fit in just fine. But now you go to the nice steakhouse, and people are gonna be like, "What, a tank top? Are you kidding me? You should be wearing a collar and a suit," and it just doesn't fit in, right? So it's like.
The best part was Andy was waiting for him to get interrupted here the whole time.
And I'm waiting. No, but it's true, right? I mean, it's like in every price range. I think it's the real estate agent's job or the consumer's job to research what is expected when I'm in that $500,000 price range. Because I have people who say, I'm ready to list my house. I want to list it for $550,000 and then ask for Mica countertops. And I'm like, guys, hate to tell you this, but you're going to have to remodel, put a little hard surface here, the Cambrias, the granites or whatever. Get that hardware updated, get those cheap fixtures out of it. You can buy at Home Depot. People don't want to come through a $500,000 plus house and see the same stuff they just saw on sale at Menards or Home Depot or wherever, right? So they actually want nice stuff in those houses. Or what you do is you make sure to have a really nice focal point in that house that distracts people to the point of where they don't notice the other stuff.
Yeah, it's so true. You have to, it has to feel within the house. So if you go absolutely, even go overboard one way, it's not going to work because they're going to look at everything else like so everything else is cheap. Why did they do that nice tile in the half bath, but they've got vinyl everywhere else? So you kind of got to match what yours is. And I think that's our position, to tell people that. And it's like staging 101. Everyone says, oh, stainless steel, hard surface countertops, paint your cabinets white. Not all the time. That doesn't have to work that way. Sometimes you're just wasting money and throwing money away. We do on our listings, if I recommend the things, and a lot of times people won't do the things because they don't have the money in which to do them. And so on my listings, if I go in and I recommend, hey, you should do this, this, and this because you're going to be able to get more money. If they do those, I will borrow them the money to be able to do that, fix them up, and I get obviously paid back at the time of closing. But it's for things that I believe, because it's my money, and I know you're going to make more money to be able to pay me back, for sure. And it's like one of those things that I'm going to do what is right for you, not just kind of overdo it and then you don't get anything back, because now you don't get any referrals or past clients coming back to you. It's so important to be able to, do what's right for that seller. And sometimes doing what's right for them is saving them from themselves. Some people are like, oh my gosh, I get people doing flip homes that are like, well, I have to replace all the windows. I'm like, no, you don't. We don't have to do that. I mean, your windows are in pretty good shape, for this market. I mean, I sell them all the time. I know that these windows are going to be fine. Let's put the money into this instead. And it's, 25% the money, and it brings back a return of 300%. So,
yeah, we just had a customer that was struggling in the last summer. They had a property that had an actual separate building on site with a rental property on it. And it was nice, but it wasn't nice enough. And they were getting in a divorce situation. So they didn't want to pull out any new equity lines together. They didn't want to refinance the house together. So they were tight on cash. We found a company that actually came in and provided the funding, and they did the work for them. Got everything done, and then we had an invoice. It increased the property value about $60,000. We spent about $40,000 to get that 60, and then it literally sold in like 2 days. It was pretty quick. So when you do the research, when you do the homework, when you have the ability to, either have a guy like Chris or you have a resource, I'm telling you, it is worth it right now to fix stuff up. People really seem to favor buying a home that's ready to move in versus something that needs a bunch of repairs.
Yeah. Just because people aren't able to envision. People just aren't able to envision. And sometimes it's like, well, let them pick out their own carpet. They can't see past that. And if they want a different carpet, it's still going to be like, well, geez, it's new carpet. We can replace that in 5 years versus, I know someone else is going to like that carpet. And so it doesn't matter if they like it or not. It matters if other people like it, which will push the person that doesn't like it that, hey, it is new carpet and I've got to go with it. So you want to, that's the whole key in real estate, is trying to get multiple people to be excited about your house, because that's what drives the price. So
true.
Okay, here we go right here, ladies and gentlemen, and this is what I've been talking about for the last 3 or 4 months, and the why I've been telling you to go all in on your business months and months ago. It's because it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out that this is what was going to happen, and it's going to get a lot worse. This is just the beginning. And all the bears that think it's going to crash worse than 2008, number one, show me some data. But number two, when's it going to happen? You ask them and they're going to say, oh, that's pretty good, 28%, but just wait, Ricky, it's going to get really, really bad. That's okay. I just got off stage in New York. Every single agent in the audience said that buyer activity is up, multiple offers on properties. Is this, sirs, going to be like the last one? No. It's going to be more like a normal market, but without the inventory. And that's the problem. That's what's really driving this thing. Two things. Demand is continuing to build. Less transactions means demand is building, right? And now on the back end of interest rates coming down, which will continue to happen with inflation, and inventory dropping, we're going to be in the same boat, the same problems that we had last year and the year before the mortgage rate started to come up. So my advice, guys, is the same advice I had for you months ago. Please go all in on the market, because this is the most exciting market that we have ever seen.
Well, I think that's a little much, but I do agree with a lot of what he said.
Yeah, they have that. I didn't get a chance to go this year. The Inman has their big show out in New York City this week. And so, like, he must be obviously a speaker, goes out there, speaks to the crowd and the audience, and a lot of movers and shakers go out there. One thing that's interesting about Inman is that it does show the different companies that are not normal. So, like, iBuyers, we were learning about those at that show, God, 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they were talking about how this market's going to start happening. And so the insights are there. What's interesting is that everybody's kind of, sitting back waiting to say, hey, should I retire, get out of the business? Are we going to survive this? Are we going to what? And then they realize, my gosh, if you have relationships with your past clients, your current clients, where you're helping people, you're going to be just fine. New construction, most of the new construction stuff I've seen has dropped 30 to 50,000 per house. So now they're getting right in line with existing market, which will put pressure on that too. And
Andy, that's not necessarily because builders are just dropping their prices. It's the prices are getting back to being normal from a product standpoint. Lumber's way down.
Say 40,000 on a house, and then the labor's dropped, and then. It's funny, or it's not funny at all. It's actually kind of disturbing in a weird way, but it's like reverse, inflation. It's almost deflationary, where now some of these people from back in June got all the way through the summer, and they realized, wow, there's an end to the road here, and I'm sitting there, and there's no work right now. And then, they're trying to move through the inventory. So the front end of the build process guys, the excavators, the concrete people, the framers, they're slow. Yeah. And they'll tell you they're slow. And they're hoping for some new digs. So anyway, it's yay for good pricing. But then again, what'll happen is those people will stop buying trucks. Those people stop going out to dinner. So then you're going to start seeing the effects of the inflationary markets affecting housing.
Yeah.
And that might take a year.
Yeah. Okay. A year equals 1 year, a decade, 10, a century, 100, forever home, historically 6 to 10 years. You got it, and it's usually less than that. But what was it? The old saying was around 7 years.
Yeah,
and I think I'm kind of a weird one, but 5. It just depends what stage of life you're in as well. Mm-hmm. I've started to see. I'm talking to people that have been in their houses for, between 10 and 20 years that we're going to look to sell now, which is kind of unusual, in a fast market. They were 2 years later, hey, let's go get something else, so good one.
Did you know that 3D models like
For tips to make your house feel more expensive: 1. Raise the blinds to the ceiling. 2. Using LED lighting. 3. Go lower for your sofas. 4. Using a statement piece in each room, like pendant lights, artwork, or large plants.
Andy, why do you think they say that on the drapes, bringing them up to the ceiling?
It emphasizes the ceiling height. Makes them feel taller, bigger, open,
It makes your windows feel bigger too, which they're not. But that's I think that's kind of maybe an easy thing to do. But a lot of these things are not cheap things to do. You've got to buy all new drapes, or you got to buy a smaller couch, or you got to have some electrician come in and add.
Well, I was as they were saying that a lot of the furniture we buy nowadays, we all get it, comes in a box, and it's assembled or whatever, and the legs are all put on. So it's like you could just take the legs off your couch to drop it again to add that space illusion. Yeah, but I think that to me, like, a vibe is very important. So when you walk in a house, you feel it or not, right? So it's like when you walk in, sight, sound, smell, something visually to look at is important. So A lot of times the view out the back, if you got a stunning view, making sure the furniture is parted so that somebody can walk right in and actually go look right out the back and take advantage of that view. The other thing that you walk in and, like, for an example, it's funny. When we were down in Naples, we had our friends, they literally plugged in it was like a maple syrup plug-in thing. And then we cooked bacon with the maple smelling bacon. So all of a sudden, every time you'd walk in their house, I go, waffles. And they would laugh at me, but it does make a difference. Like every time you walk in the house, you smell that maple smell. So it is important, to be aware of, and it's not a bad thing. I thought of breakfast and cozy, and maybe that's a good thing, right? So,
yeah.
But on a vacation home, maybe you want to have the smell of tropical flowers, or I don't know.
You just don't want to have a bad smell. That's number one.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Have the clogged toilet right there at the.
You've had that at a model home.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
According to the National Association of Realtors, the average agent in 2021 worked 35 hours a week. Are you kidding me? That is a joke. Think about this. These people that they want to sell all these houses, hit these big income goals. The average real estate agent didn't even work a 40-hour work week. This tells me two things. One, the agent that's committed to doing the things every day, follows a schedule, treats their business like a business. And I don't care if you're on a team, you're in a brokerage, wherever. It is ownership in your business that matters. If you're not treating your business like a business and putting in the time, you're not going to get the results that you want. I hear so many people bouncing around from brokerages or moving around, and the reality is they're putting in like 25, 30, 35 hours a week. That's a part-time job. Full-time is 40 plus. A business owner knows you put in way more than 40 hours a week. And to see that the average agent worked 35 hours a week in 2021 tells me how ripe for disruption the market's going to be in 2023 and moving forward, because those people aren't ready to work. They aren't ready to put the time in. And the folks that are committed, are all in, are putting in the time, have their day down into a time block schedule. That's who's going to win. So do you want to?
Well, that's a motivational coaching session if I ever saw one.
Jeez. I feel offended. 35 hours is a lot. No.
I would be shit, Chris. You spend 35 hours by Tuesday.
No way. No way. I work smarter, not harder. No. Yeah, I think it's pretty hard not to to do that. But I'll tell you what, I've never time blocked my schedule. And everyone says, oh, you got to time block your schedule. I've never done that. Obviously I have appointments and stuff, but mine is I'm a little weirder. No comment, please. But I have to kind of I gotta be, it comes to me at certain times, and then I have to do it. And that time might be at 10 p.m. and it might be at 3 a.m. And then I can get my work done. So it's not like, hey, from 8 to 9, I gotta make sure this listing gets done and come up with a marketing direction of it. I can't do it. It might be at dinner and then get it done. So
everybody thinks the AP behind me stands for Andy Prasky.
Yeah.
It stands for attention problem.
Yeah.
And I have to block, because if I don't, I literally will set a timer.
Yeah.
And if I don't set the timer, I don't do it. So, like, for an example, let's say that you're working on numbers for the team from last quarter. You want to verify who did what, how they did it, just to help, with the coaching. If I don't block that, that's in my head, that's the least important thing to do until it's due. And then it's then you're scrambling to do it. So I like to go into my day with everything ready. All of my, you see kind of over this way, all my folders are in line, ready to go for each appointment. Everything's prepared. So I have to block, because otherwise I am very much oh, wow, look at the snowplows going by. And I'll stand out there and watch them. And I'm like, that'd be cool to have a snowplow. And then I'm Googling snowplows. And then you know what I'm saying? It's then also you get on these, where all of a sudden you're 2 hours later, you're like, what just happened? So, but that also is why I think I'm good with searching for houses. When I get dedicated and I'm looking to find somebody something, I'm like, I dive and dig and go from all different angles to find it. But your personality is your personality. So you got to be aware of who you are, what you are, and adjust your, schedule appropriately. Well, plus you don't miss anything, right? If you time block and say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to go digging for gold from 8 in the morning till 10 in the morning, whatever that means to you, and you do it every week, well, guess what? At the end of the month, you're not disappointed you didn't do it. You did it 4 hours this month, and you have limited results.
Yeah. Yeah. Get it. It's unfortunate in the real estate industry. If you think it's a part-time job and you actually want to make some money, you're sadly mistaken. It's well over 40 hours. It's probably 60 hours a week. You work on weekends, you work days, you work nights. You just do it. And that's what your life is. But it's also, there's good things too. No one's going to tell me when I can and cannot go to Florida. I can do that. It's going to probably hurt my business if I'm not here. But it's a job that takes a lot of time. It really does. And you got to be on other people's time. And I think that's what a lot of people can't handle, is being on other people's time, because you're working all day and someone wants to see houses at night, or a great listing comes up on a Sunday and you have to show it. But then you have a new listing that's going to be a real good one. So you do an open house on Saturday and Sunday, and it just goes on and on and on. And so, it's really hard to work 35 hours a week.
Well, anybody that knows me personally will laugh. Like, I'll show up at a dinner party or, hey, let's get together, have pizza and watch the game. And I show up like this, and I'm wearing my, my business kind of stuff. It's because I don't know when I'm not going to be on call. So like, I am literally like, and that is probably the hardest thing for most agents, like you said, as they enter the business. How do you control that? How do you manage your life and the balance of business? For me, I say this I don't feel like I'm on call, so it doesn't bother me. It may bother the people around me, but I don't mind taking a call saying, hey, wow, I found this, or holy cows, let's do that tomorrow, and being able to take that call. So it does limit your window. But talking about time blocking, if you are, let's say you're going to have, and this is the biggest thing with real estate agents, you play hard and you work hard, or you work hard, then you play hard. So, you're out golfing all day long and you've had your 15 beers, you may not want to pick up the phone. So what I always tell everybody is make a contingency and have somebody else on your team. You deserve to have the 15 beers. You worked hard, right? Or whatever you want to call a fun day on the golf course. But have somebody else that's answering your phone that day for you so that you can actually truly let your hair down and have a good time. Because otherwise you're kidding yourself. If you think you can do everything all the time for everybody, you'll fail.
It's funny how you say that, because there's been many times that we've gone out and they're like, you're going to have a drink? And I'm like, no, I'm not have a drink. I can engage and do all that, but it's like, I'm working on an offer right now, and I will not mix alcohol and negotiating or anything like that for a client. You just can't do it. And if I am doing that, I'll get like Karin to take care of it instead. So very right.
A simple text would say, hey, I've been on the golf course today, had a couple extra beers. I'm going to have my partner take care of this tonight. I'll look at it first thing 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. Most people don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But on the other hand, if you don't, you just have your partner take over, because even the biggest big shot CEO, whatever, has had the good time, right? Or you're unwinding, and it has to happen. Otherwise, you'd be so wound tight you'd explode. And I've seen that happen too.
But I do think it's somewhat funny that some clients don't think we should ever be able to have vacations either. It's like, what do you mean you're going on vacation? Well, yeah, sometimes you do that,
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
My husband and I are seriously considering buying a modular home.
Okay.
I would love to hear from anyone. Andy, I would love to hear from Andy, who's familiar with modular homes and the whole modular home process. Andy, they would like to know that.
I think modular homes are fantastic. I really do. I think that, especially in the future, we're going to have to change the way we put on our goggles, because a lot of people look at that as being lesser of a home. Number one, you're building a house in a completely humidity-controlled environment. They're much more efficient with the way they use their products. So they don't order 12-footers to cut them to 10 and leave a dumpster full of lumber laying there. They actually order exactly what they need. The efficiencies are there. Now, there's limited sometimes on the customization, and there's also sometimes an educational process of finding somebody that will do the foundation, and then the crane guy that'll come in and or gal that'll set the house, and doing all the connections. But I'll tell you what, in the near future, I believe with the way people talk about 3D printing, they're talking about having houses sent out in kits, people living in containers, all of those mini houses. If you actually look up that category, it's getting gigantic. Now, the big hurdle, getting the cities to allow them. A lot of cities don't have the right zoning to allow that kind of a house because they don't know what it is. They don't know how to categorize it. So then they just assume they just kind of push it off and worry about other things. But I think that in the future, modular homes will actually be looked at as an advantage, especially if they have a great warranty on them.
I think to clarify, modular home doesn't mean like a mobile home. It means like they're building this house in a factory, kind of typically in two sides, and they bring it in and set it on a foundation.
Right. Or now they're even doing like the main floor or the upper floor. It comes out in 6 pieces, and it's actually a cool process.
Yeah,
I think it is. And think
they
about
do it with wall panels too. That's
wall
another
panels
variation of
another thing, so they can get the houses enclosed faster. So remember this when you're thinking about building a house, and you start framing your house. And right now we have all of our lumber and all of our exterior products designed to have a 30-day plus exposure rating, meaning it can rain 30 days in a row before any compromising of integrity would happen with any of the products that are out there being rained on. Okay, well, a stud, you take a 2x4 and let it get wet for a month and then dry it. Is that stud going to lay straight, Chris, or is that going to start spinning?
Yeah.
It's going to start spinning. And what happens is I find houses that get rained on, all of a sudden I don't understand, there's so many nail pops in my house. Why doesn't your house have a bunch of nail pops on the sheetrock? 100% because the studs aren't trying to twist. And so to me, you bring out a modular house that was built in a factory. It's at, 12% moisture in that factory. Everything's tight, done together. They bring it out, they put it together. There's no exposure. There's no moisture challenges. There's no, man, yeah. I think it could be a better product eventually if they'd figure out how to do it.
Yep. I'm with you.
Boom, boom.
All right, let's sell some big boy houses.
Yeah.
We're going to up the price bracket here. Let me flip this on here. Okay. Andy, we're going to get you first.
Yes. I didn't even catch. Are you still in Cambodia or are you in Taiwan now?
Thailand.
Thailand. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I heard the sunsets are beautiful there.
Yeah. No, a lot of good vibes. Okay, Andy, let's do it. Put you down this area.
Keep going south, you're going to hit my listing.
Stone Mill. I know that area.
Look at that. Nice house. So you want me to sell this to you, or you want me to help you buy it, or what do you want me to do here?
Yeah, sell this listing.
Well, $950,000 has become kind of a normal price in the Woodbury market. I think houses kind of start in the 7s for big 2-stories. The Stone Mill Farms development is very stunning. Nice architectural covenants. Every house has integrity with architecture quality. There's protective covenants too when it comes to what you can or cannot do. So there's kind of that safety. The house itself I have not looked at, but when I do, I probably will be able to sell it.
Just tell me what you want, Andy. You want photos or stats?
Yeah, let's show the inside. There we go. The outside of the house. So nice open floor plan, lots of custom built-ins. A little looks like a creativity there with the kitchen mixing this is actually becoming very popular where to me now it looks like they bought an island on sale and had it installed where it had the countertop on it and the wood species. And then they have a different colored, countertop, but that's the style. So I guess that's cool. But to me, it's a beautiful side-by-side kitchen. That's a fun feature too. That's for a lot of builders. The island sink is popular. The vented hood is very cool. Nice wood floors, looks like. Engineered wood floors. Lots of light, lots of windows. Looks like a homework cubby for the kids. Nice laundry room with plenty of cabinets, countertops to fold all your stuff. Interesting wall there where they have an actual textured wall brought in and painted just for a visual, highlight. Tray vault ceiling. I would have updated the fan a little bit, but nice bathroom there. Granite tops. Looks like a nice tile floor, walk-in shower, big soaker tub, separate toilet room. Looks nice. Kids' rooms are kids' rooms. So you see the slat wall there. Looks like a Jack and Jill style bathroom. So you can walk through. Looks like 2 sinks and then the are shared between there. Another very busy room. See, now these, and honestly, these are rooms where I would have took these kids and said, all right, sorry, you're going to desensitize all this, but that's me. I'm still trying to sell this. See how you can personalize your bedroom to make it yours? Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Whoever let them take pictures of this house should be, if that was you, Andy, if you're the realtor, yours should be in real big trouble.
No way. I would have been the bad cop. I see, in a house like that, yeah. This is where if you hear Andy Prasky say to you, we should bring the stagers through. That's me not having the guts to tell you what I really want to tell you. Yeah. And I'll pay the $400 to have a stager come through and tell you, and I'll give them a list of, I need you to hit these things for me on top of your own impression,
Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, number one, the house is not going to sell because you haven't, or it's not going to sell for what the seller wants it because he's looking at the one down the street. I mean, that thing is what, 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 4,600 square feet in Stone Mill. That's a nice house, but it's not going to sell for that because of all the stuff. I mean, did you see the laundry room? The laundry room, that little closet or that little desk in the hallway. I mean, it's crazy. They need to do something else. Did you see the front picture? Nick turned off my volume, and they had look at all the flags in the front yard. I mean, you can't do that.
That's not how they could definitely have a better picture without a car in the driveway, without the grill in the front or whatever that is.
That's a beautiful home.
The holiday stuff is on there. It shows you that it's over a month old. So to me, I'm very sensitive to a lot of this stuff when we have listings, because those subtleties are the things I pick up on. Like, oh, look here, they've got the Halloween decorations out and it's grass. Well, they were thinking about selling this in October and they still haven't sold it yet. So you're helping the other side of the transaction have more leverage on you, knowing your situation. So you want to be relevant, fresh, recent, current, whatever you want to call it.
How we live and how we sell are two different things. Just fact. I mean, if you want to get the most amount of money, and you're not on 300 feet of lakeshore right there. What's that?
You want to get those teenagers out of that house.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff, and there is a lot of stuff.
The aerials though. You're Bear Path. That's easy.
That's easy. Bear Path. There's lots of growling that happens there. But
I don't think it's cool. You know how they out in South Dakota you can feed the bears the marshmallows? I think that's kind of the cool part about Bear Path, but also scary that they have bears just running around
on the path. Yeah. They block the paths. Exactly.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
Yeah.
My bad.
Did you over in Thailand?
Did you want to finish that up, or I was going to move on to the next because of the time?
He's done.
I'm done. You got to cut me off.
You already cut me off on my Bear Path here. So Bear Path, 4-bedroom, 5-bath, almost 6,000 square feet. Now this one's built in '94. Bear Path is a premier golf community in Eden Prairie, kind of on the western side. Looks like we got main floor bedroom here, really open floor plan. And the cool thing about Bear Path, there was a down market in Bear Path that kind of crushed it really. And to get into it for 1.3 now and be able to kind of put your touches on the inside of it is well worth the money. If it hasn't had the stucco problem, because a lot of them did in there were a lot of them were kind of redone. That happened in the wilds too. And it kind of was in that era of that time being built. And so making sure that the moisture, I'm saying that it's already been tested. We don't have a problem with that, but you're in the exclusive community, getting into the Bear Path for only $275 a month on a homeowners association. And I wouldn't believe this one backs up to the course, because usually those are a lot more expensive, but it's in the same community. Right.
Looks like it is.
Oh, it might be. Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to see an aerial view of it, but anyways, back to water too. Look at that. Look at the size of that Rambler, Andy. I mean, that might, there's the clubhouse.
Right, the clubhouse too,
yeah.
I don't know. That makes sense. I think we should buy it.
Yeah, this one doesn't look too bad. Keep going through these photos. I would be trying to talk a client in to see the value that you have here. You've got 6,000 square feet that you could redo. Sometimes people look at these floors and automatically think like, oh my gosh, they're outdated. Now remember, you can, I hope they're real floors, but you can sand those into a natural matte finish. Totally changes the whole vibe and feel. and then maybe you can kind of do some. I would take that carpet out and kind of finger joint those floors back in, remove those valances there on the windows, because look at that view out the back. It's beautiful, and no one's going to be peeking through there. You want that wide open when you walk into the house and uninterrupted. So I don't know. I think it could be.
What do you think about the white and kind of cherry railings and the archways? See, to me, like seems like every house that I work on now, we're almost trying to avoid getting. I don't know why, but like everyone wants to take arches out, and they're trying to take out the
cleaner lines
kind of looking.
Yeah, cleaner lines, and typically they were just framed in. I mean, it's pretty easy in which to be able to do that. Andy's saying that you've got a rounded area, you could just kind of make it flat, actually bring it up on both sides, because at the highest point is where it's framed from, so you can bring it all up, kind of be able to get height in there. But I just think that would be a fantastic buy for someone. I don't know how long it's been on the market.
Price rate, yeah.
So
God, I was showing condos not that long ago.
Kitchen's a little closed in. I think I might. Yeah, I might invest in this kitchen to open it up a little. Feels like it's just a little closed in from the rest of the house.
The white microwave has to go too.
Yeah, the white appliances.
Isn't that funny though? That's a $1.2 million let's get started project.
Yeah, it really is.
Cool.
But it looks livable too. Like no problem. You can move in and have no problem with it. So.
Beautiful. Hey, another great show. Make sure to give us a like on the Facebook, write us reviews on iTunes, Spotify, and subscribe on YouTube. We're actually starting to get some views on YouTube. It's creeping up, but we're going to put our link tree here. Just click that link, and all our links, everyone's website is in it. And have a great day. See you next week.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.